Welcome to our monthly podcast called BAMcast. This is our 9th episode. This month's topic is culture creates community creates a tribe. Community guides culture. You can create a Facebook group for just about anything. Worse yet, just about anyone can be invited to join your group. Worse still, pretty much anyone and everyone might try to join your group. Combined, this is why Facebook groups are probably one of the worst ways you can build a community around your brand. Almost every brand, company, storefront, and organization attempts some kind of community as an arm of their marketing plan. The thinking is simple. Get your customers in one spot and it will be easier to sell to them. This is also not what a community is for. Telling people to go to a specific place for a single reason is called a meeting. Every community can have meetings. Most meetings are not communities. I say this because I have just turned down several dozen invitations on various social networks to join me on a mastermind or networking group or another, all of them hosted by some kind of marketing guru who wants my involvement to sell me on their program. They all run back to the same playbook. They are all after your cash, and every single one of them misses the point of the community. When it comes to your brand, culture creates community, and the community then guides the culture to create your tribe. It takes a village to raise a child, they say. Every member of the village, the community, pitches in to mold how every child grows and learns. Why? Because those children will eventually grow up to be elders, teachers, mentors, and leaders who help raise the next generation in that community. No one is selling anything. Everyone is involved and everyone benefits. In a similar light, it takes a community to sustain your brand. And when the community builds itself around the ideals of your brand, it becomes a tribe. These aren't your customers. This isn't your audience. These are members of your tribe. Tribal members do whatever is necessary to protect the sanctity of what holds them together from one generation or evolution to the next. They may help cultivate new members while shielding their ideals and virtues from the negative elements that might limit what they can do. When done right, your brand's community will guide you on where they want to go next. For the most part, this doesn't happen on Facebook. I don't consider this a problem. For those who are aware of the power of their brand, the culture is an extension and practice of the community. You are reinforcing your core values without having to hard sell your product. This is the safe place where you can express your authentic voice beyond your ego of you or your brand. Your community, the tribe, should be born from and sustained by your brand's core messaging and culture. Forcing it to go any other direction isn't going to do you any favors. There is much more to creating a community that goes beyond giving space to communicate with people. Before we deconstruct what this all means, let me tell you what BAMcast is all about. BAMcast is a monthly podcast dedicated to recalibrating your brand, audience, and message. All resources, support, and topics will be around this brand recalibration or alignment, to give you the confidence and clarity of the right path that's right for your brand's vision. I am Joel Kelly, co-founder of BAM Create and the BAM Fam and the BAM Academy, and I strongly believe in the philosophy of give someone a fish and they'll eat for a day. Teach someone to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. I spent 20 plus years building brands, educating business owners on how to excel and align their brand and message in the marketplace. I want to teach you the lessons I've learned from my successes and failures and share the wisdom I've gained along the way. I didn't follow my passion. I followed the opportunity which led to my passion. If you want to build a legacy and live the life you've always dreamed of, but just need a little guidance to get there, I'm here to help. This month's topic is culture creates community, community creates a tribe. We'll be discussing 3 things during this podcast. Practical definitions of community and tribe. I think it's important that we understand the foundation and the context and the basics. Number 2, all the ways brands are abusing their sense of community. Number 3, how using communities and the way they are designed to be will build your brand. All right, so point 1, breaking down the buzzwords. As always, before we dive into the concept, we need to remove the esoteric buzzwords that we have been tied to. Before we understand the how, we have to comprehend the who. Community. It's a noun. A unified body of individuals with common interests scattered through a larger society. A tribe, also a noun. A social group composed of numerous families, clans, or generations having a shared ancestry or language. Combine community with core values and time, and you will eventually find yourself with a tribe. The members of your tribe find each other, support each other, and build their own language and ways to do things. Dedicated Peloton users find their tribe, as do fans of video game franchises, or even fraternal organizations. If you are part of them, there are things you just get that seem alien to everyone else. Point 2, not planned, but an accident. Now, most communities people want you to join are an afterthought. They shouldn't be. Think of the mailing list or group you are added to after you have bought into the main product. Now you are on another list that's trying to sell you more stuff. Brand communities need to serve as the main pillar of their brand culture. It's not just comment on this post after everything they do on Instagram or begging for some type of Google or Facebook review. Most social media followings may feel like a community, but they are open and public to anyone in the world. In the best case scenario, your posts get lost in all the noise. In the worst case, your post is scrutinized by someone who doesn't understand your community or language. The context is lost, words are twisted, and the following dwindles as your customers or clients try to get away from you. Or this looks like the influencers who talk about being shadow banned or how their engagement is dropping. Shadow bans and engagement dips are not aspects of a community. They are concerns about visibility tied to a community. They ultimately have no control. If your social media accounts vanish tomorrow, would your community know what to do? On the other hand of the spectrum, you can find brands treating their communities like ATMs. Need to sell more merchandise, push out a post, an email blast, or work the affiliate levers to see what happens? You can get an exceptional amount of business leads from a great community, but lead generation is a fraction of what a community could actually do for you. If you only treat them as clients or customers, they'll never be members of your tribe. As an exercise, imagine if your community didn't have a home. Suppose you woke up tomorrow and Facebook groups and email lists just vanished. Would your community, your tribe, know where to find you? Would they know what to do to keep your core values at heart? Or would they just feel abandoned? Point 3, a foundation built on solutions. Creating a sustainable, thriving, autonomous community means facilitating conversations around the primary problem your brand sets out to solve. This isn't about signups or sales. Forget about engagement or follower counts. As a brand, starting a genuine culture-driven community begins with a dialogue. So start it. Dialogue is an exchange. Monologue is an open-ended speech into the abyss. In the Big Bang process, we spend a ton of time developing your brand culture for this exact reason. It is the very thing many brand managers and companies skip right over as they rush to sell a product. But when your culture drives the community finds solutions to the problems you set out to solve. The culture creates the community, and the community in turn drives the culture, which creates the tribe. Before long, you have more than just a community. Again, you have a tribe. You have something that could very well exist without you, beyond you, and after you. A well-executed community gives your brand the kind of equity you will never see out of an email list or social media following. A culture-driven community can't be accidentally deleted, banned for violating guidelines, or lost behind a forgotten password. Communities grow, brands grow, communities. It starts with you defining your community's intention, which is very similar to your brand's intention. This leads me to key elements to creating a community around the culture of your brand. And on the way to creating a tribe. Manage expectations. Be clear and define what your community is for and what it's not. Healthy boundaries are key to a successful relationship. Free space. They may not know you and want to test the waters before jumping on board with your main offering or what you want to talk about. Allowing them the freedom to explore is extremely beneficial. Add valuable resources that can only be found in your community. They need a reason for them to engage and go out of their way. Don't make it about you. This isn't about your ego for you or your brand. Support the products and services you offer in an incubated environment. And I want to say that again, in an incubated environment, not an indoctrinated environment. Incubated. Key difference. Don't be discouraged if you don't get engagement. Be consistent and ask questions. When it comes to the community of different things, it's not about how much engagement you get, but it's about that consistency that compounds. So once a week, go in, answer questions, and manage those expectations through your boundaries and the rules and guidelines of your community. And allow other people to take and facilitate conversations, explore that conversations, and empower them. Another option is create exclusive live events that benefit those who are part of the community, whether that's listening to a podcast live or being a part of one of those mastermind groups or just discussion and conversation. Qualify. Another option is to qualify your tribe members and make sure they're aligned with your brand. Now, getting a bunch of people in and doing the sifting process and all those different things is all great, but they can be a time suck. And also, if you think about it, violates the Pareto principle, where 20% of your efforts yield 80% of your results. You'll just create more bottlenecks by putting people in the community that aren't exactly aligned with you, and that's going to create problems later on. Now, in conclusion, I would say that it's okay to sell in your community if it's appropriate, but don't make that the focal point. You need to realize that the community is there to support the growth of the brand and nurture those conversations and discussions. And if we look at it as an extended arm, as a way of residual income, just to funnel them through a system, they're going to feel like a number. But empowering them, allowing them to have a voice in the community, having conversations around that, seeing where it's going, and creating order around that chaos will actually lead to a much better result. And from that community process, they'll actually become a tribe, which means they'll become loyal followers. They'll become ambassadors of your brand, and they will shout it from the rooftops because of the value that they get in this space. I know a lot of people of us, we give away so much. And so it's really important that you don't just give away so much value. You give enough to have a conversation and enough to give them valuable resources. But if they want to take it to the next level, if they're ready to take that step, then I absolutely believe that should be paid. And again, I'm not saying that you can't sell to your community. I'm saying that you should not make that the focus. So in conclusion, culture creates community, creates a tribe. That concludes this month's BAMcast. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, you can email clarity@bamalign.com with the subject line, I would like to be a guest on BAMcast. I strongly recommend you start by understanding your brand archetypal mix, and we have a free quiz for that. Link will be in the description. You can also join our BAM Fam community dedicated to recalibrating and aligning your brand. We have free alignment resources there as well. Link will be in the description. Finally, if you find yourself in need of guidance with your brand alignment or needing a brand recalibration, we have our BAM Academy and frameworks to help you with that. I would start with the Big BAM process. This is our brand strategy framework I have led thousands of clients through, and we have a self-guided option as well. I wish you the best on your journey in discovering what works for you and your community and building culture that creates community and that community that creates a tribe. Thanks for listening.